तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ओम तव कथामृतं तप्त जीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमंगलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we are in the conversations of 14th December, 15th or 14th?
14th. 14th December.
14th. 14th December 1882, and the chapter heading in English book is better. English book says the Master and Vijay Goswami, Vijay Krishna Goswami. Now in Bengali, Master talking to Vijay Krishna Balram, but in the whole thing, it is between Thakur and Vijay Krishna Goswami. And we are today going to make a complete philosophical picture of what Thakur says. Because so many things are getting mixed up, or we feel up and down, so we must get a picture in our mind. Now yesterday we have seen, now itself we have to make it. Yesterday we have seen that Maya or delusion, the first product is I. This small I or I consciousness, I means consciousness. But consciousness somehow related to or bound by or limited by this body and mind. That is I consciousness. And this I consciousness naturally obstructs the real I. The real I, the reality of mind, reality of the whole world, they cannot be different, first of all. But this reality is my real nature. And this real nature cannot be expressed because of this small I. Now, the example is that clouds, though small in size, obstruct our vision. And we feel as if they are covering the sun. The sun is too huge to imagine even. And this much clouds can cover it because it covers our vision. Now, obviously, until this I is destroyed, removed, we cannot have our realization. And this realization is sometimes called knowledge. Knowledge does not mean information or intellectual conviction. It means the change of our I consciousness into the universal I or beyond. And the same reality which is beyond is universal. This is Thakur's basic, or that is basic truth in Vedanta and all realized persons. Now, this much is all right. But path of knowledge and path of devotion, these are two names before us. Now, path of knowledge, those who follow think that this devotion is something lower and it cannot reach God. And the confusion has arisen due to, according to the Vedantic rishis, there are 3 stages of our life, spiritual life. Firstly, we are engaged in gross karmas. Then when the mind has evolved, we go into beyond the gross in the mental karmas. That is called upasana. Upasana is a process of the mind. And mind itself can never reach God. God is beyond mind. Now, upasana purifies the mind. And when mind is purified, we go beyond. And that beyond is called knowledge, the actual change of consciousness. Now, bhakti or devotion has been wrongly equated with upasana by the foolish Vedantis. And that has created the confusion. Bhakti, as Thakur is telling us, is a force. We are studying simultaneously the Prashnopanishad, and there we found in the answer to the 4th question, both in the 2nd mantra and in the 3rd mantra, Shankar is telling vehemently that bhakti is a force which will take you beyond, and without which you cannot progress. But this has been the mistake. On the other hand, those who follow the path of bhakti, they say bhakti is easier, bhakti is superior. But then the question comes, now we say bhakti is the best path, bhakti is the easiest path. So, bhakti is of various types. Just as in Jnana Yoga, first there is purification and then knowledge. In Bhakti Yoga, there is Vaidhi Bhakti, the ritualistic Bhakti. Ritual, whether karma or bhakti, ritual is ritual. There I am doing something. And so long as I am doing something, I can never reach God. So, bhakti itself is of 2 types, in which I do something ritualistically as prescribed by the scriptures, count your beads, bali and all that we have to do. So, but there is another bhakti which is made of love. And when this love comes between me and God, how will it come? By Vaidhi Bhakti it can come. Or some people directly have that love. So if the love for God has grown, that is the force which takes you to God. And what about this I? So now think of this I. We have thought up to this point. Now this I itself, the I consciousness itself is of 2 types. Thakur calls one as wicked I and one the good I or helpful I. So this wicked I is when this I consciousness solidifies, becomes really obstructive. You should understand that I consciousness is the only source of all our 6 demerits. Lust or attraction for sex is born out of I. Thakur has shown it and Thakur has told it. And then Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madamatsar, all of them are born of I. So that is the wicked I. And in Thakur's language, woman attraction to woman and God, attachment to this body, attachment to our own ideas and mind, due to that attachment to everybody in the world, attachment to which Thakur distills into attachment to woman and God. So this is wicked I. But then there is another I. And this another I can be properly understood only in the path of devotion. And Thakur has defined it in two ways. There may be more ways, but Thakur has condensed all of them in two. Servant I or devotee I. Now, the devotee I is of various types. I am the child, I am the mother, I am some relation with God. And even when we are assuming that God is formless, this love is possible. So, love, relation is possible. So, that is called the devotee I and servant I. Now, this devotee I or good I again can be looked at from 2 points. It is a force which is taking us nearer and nearer to God, and finally, by its force, it will make us merge in God. So devotion, the path of devotion appears simpler, easier, because we do not start thinking of body or no body there. We are only concerned with God is the supreme reality and I am his servant or I am his devotee. So it has that force to take us directly to God. Now, suppose we have gone to God, either by the path of knowledge. Path of knowledge is very, very difficult, and Thakur calls it very few people have reached by that path, because it assumes that the world is unreal, that the body is unreal. Body is not me, not only not me, but it is unreal. So long as we have body as real, body as myself, it is almost impossible to follow the path of knowledge. And Thakur's everything is totally scriptural. We shall find clearly in the 12th chapter of the Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna describing the same thing. Now, but somehow, yesterday we read that, by sadhana or somehow, you have reached God. Now, after you realize also, you can keep I. And this I, of course, is illumined I. The I who knows that I have assumed this I, that I has gone. Either the wicked I or the I of the devotee or servant has gone, merged in God. This is a new I, if you like to say. I have assumed this I for the sake of doing good to the world, for the sake of continuing my relation with God. So, this I is obviously good. So, this is Thakur's description. Now, yesterday we were reading another thing. We say bhakti is good, bhakti is easy, but we do not know what type of bhakti will reach God. Any bhakti cannot reach God. So this ritualistic bhakti or showy bhakti or bhakti which has not come to the level of love of God. Bhakti we see around. Is it love of God? Most of it is ceremonious. That means ritualistic. I am engaged, busy in doing something continuously. So this doer I is an obstruction. But bhakti is not an obstruction. Through this doer I, if it is engaged in knowledge, it will not go. But if it is engaged in acts of worship, that will lead me to the bhakti which is love. And this love is the force which will take me to God. This is the full picture of what Thakur has told us. So, because Vijay is asking questions and Thakur is replying, Thakur is telling everything correctly, scripturally. And as per the question, Thakur is giving the answer. So, we have tried to draw a complete picture of what Thakur wants to say. Now, yesterday, we read that Bhakti can reach God. So, from there we pick up from English page 168, Bengali page 122,
23.
No. Where we are?
23.
23. Yes. Kintu. There is a small subheading, Dvividha Bhakti, Uttam Adhikari, Ishwar Darshana Rupaya. Up to that point we are read. Kintu. So, we come to the English now. To Vijay. That one line, no. We have finished this reading. We have finished this yesterday's mark. Seventh plane and all that we have read. Wrong mark. Yes. But page 171, please. English page 172. English page 172. But find the para with but. There are two paras with but it isn't any and every kind of bhakti that enables one to realize God. Any and every. Now, what is any and every? I was going to say that. Now, this bhakti is ceremonial and all that. And then there is, what we call it, selfish bhakti. There is some word.
Transactional.
No, swartha and niswartha. But in bhakti language, there is some word for that. You see, I want this, I want that. And that is the 99% bhakti which we see in the world. And they even ask, you are doing bhakti, have you got something? So that bhakti is totally out. In that bhakti, you are not loving God. You are loving something. And to get that, you are using God as a medium. If I love God, then He will give me this. If I love God, He will give me that. And this goes by the name of bhakti. Now there also, it may lead to unselfish bhakti. Because bhakti is there. Shall I give an example? I have given that. My Guruji, on his way to college, there was a small Shiva temple. And he used to go down, make a circumambulation and come out. One day he saw a girl, beautiful young girl, sitting very near the Shiva Murti or Shiva Lingam, and very lovingly, as it were, talking something to Shiva. So he felt curious. And while circumambulating, he went very near. And what he heard? She was a prostitute. And she is requesting Shiva to bring such and such a rich man to her parlor. Supplicating for something. This bhakti is not going to reach God. So, that bhakti is out. As I said, because bhakti is bhakti, that may lead to the selfless bhakti also. Selfish bhakti, selfless bhakti, okay. And the ceremonious bhakti. But it isn't any and every kind of bhakti that enables one to realize God. One cannot realize God without prema bhakti, where love, bhakti out of love for God. Another name for prema bhakti is raga bhakti. Raga means attachment. Attachment to God, which is also love, another name. God cannot be realized without love and longing. So longing is the final criteria. Thakur has repeatedly told you. Whether you are a jnani or a bhakta, longing is the final thing. Unless one has learned to love God, So you have to get the real bhakti and then you will get God. One cannot realize Him. There is another kind of bhakti known as Vaidhi bhakti. Vaidhi means according to which one must, Vaidhi means as prescribed, ritualistic, according to which one must repeat the name of God a fixed number of times, fast, make pilgrimages, worship God with prescribed offerings, make so many sacrifices, and so forth and so on. So all of them involve doing some work for God. By continuing such practice a long time, one gradually acquires Raga Bhakti. So it is not condemned. It leads to Raga Bhakti if practiced for a very long time. God cannot be realized until one has Raga Bhakti. So he repeats this. One must love God in order to realize. One must love God. In order to realize God, one must be completely free from worldliness. And that is that worldly bhakti. I'll get this or I'll get that. And direct all of one's mind to Him. In Christianity, they say, love your God with all your mind and all your heart and all your soul. So that is what Thakur is telling here, that some acquire Raga Bhakti directly because Thakur has to describe Vedamurti. So from ritualistic Bhakti, long time you go to Raga Bhakti. That does not mean that everybody goes like that. Maybe past life, maybe something, but some acquire Raga Bhakti directly. It is innate in them. They have it from their very childhood. How else to describe? Directly is innate in them. It is from their very childhood. Even at an early age, they weep for God. So that longing. An instance of such bhakti is to be found in Prahlada. The story of Prahlada we have sometimes seen before, that his mother, when the mother was pregnant, Narada Muni used to come and describe Lord to her. And that this boy had her in the womb. And when he came out, he was a full jnani and a full bhakta. And he knew nothing but God. And his father was demon, Hiranyakashipu. That portion we have read last time. Vaidhi Bhakti is, now example he used. Vaidhi Bhakti is like moving a fan to make a breeze. One needs the fan to make the breeze. That is ritual. One needs the fan. Similarly, one practices japa, austerity, and fasting in order to acquire love of God. But the fan is set aside when the southern breeze blows up itself. Southern breeze is famous for its cooling, soothing effect. Such actions as japa and austerity drop away when one spontaneously feels love and attachment for God. So when the breeze is blowing, we do not require the fan. And we keep aside the fan. So Thakur's examples are very beautiful. Who indeed will perform the ceremonies explained in the scriptures when mad with love of God. So mad is another word. Love of God will change the level of our consciousness. That is called mad. Our actions will not be like ordinary man. Devotion to God may be said to be green. Green, understood? Unripe. Kacha has been translated as green. So long as it doesn't grow into love of God, so said to be green so long as it does not grow into love of God. But it becomes ripe when it has grown into such love. So contrast to ripe could have been unripe. But kacha tarkari na?
Kacha bhakti.
Kacha bole to. So kacha
Paka.
is generally called as green. That's all. We may say raw or tender. Raw and ripe. Now another tremendous statement he is making. You see, full picture is giving. Means this person with raw bhakti cannot reach God, cannot understand scriptures. Even to understand the spiritual truths, it requires ripe bhakti. And that we see, so much busy they are in the rituals, but they cannot understand. A man with green bhakti cannot assimilate spiritual talk and instruction. And he gives a beautiful example. Of course, those people who lived in old ages and old cameras. But one with right bhakti can. The image that falls on a photographic plate covered with black film is retained. Previously in the camera, they are putting a glass with coated. And in that coating, the image which comes disturbs that coating. And that is how we get the negative picture. Then it is washed and turned into positive. But if you put only a plain glass, it will appear, but it will not remain. The image that falls on a photographic plate covered with black film is retained. In the footnote is given the black film, silver nitrate. On the other hand, thousands of images may be reflected on a bare piece of glass, but not one of them is retained. As the object moves away, the glass becomes the same as it was before. One cannot assimilate spiritual instruction unless one has already developed love of God. They will listen. It will be as if they understood, but that will not be retained. Vijay. Is bhakti alone sufficient for the attainment of God, for his vision? Because that is still lingering in his mind. The jnana will be required or something. Master, yes, One can see God through bhakti alone. But, rider is there, na? But it must be right bhakti, prema bhakti and raga bhakti. When one has that bhakti, one loves God. How he loves God? Thakur has told Master Mahasaya three things. Here, two things are there out of those three. And one more is added. Even as the mother loves the child, that was there in that instruction. The child, the mother. This is additional here. There it was, Vishay is Vishaya Prati. Man, worldly man, towards the objects he possesses. That is not here. The child, the mother, or the wife, the husband. That was there in the previous one also. And there it was that these three forces should get together and be directed to God. Here, or is there. Because through different bhavas we can reach. But it must be right bhakti, prema bhakti and raga bhakti. When one has that bhakti, one loves God, even as the mother loves the child the mother, or the wife the husband. When one has such love and attachment for God, one doesn't feel the attraction of Maya. Maya means it is mine, that is Maya. Maya to wife, children, relatives and friends. So God is my mother, God is my husband, God is my wife, but not this way. That goes and mind goes to God in some relation. One retains only compassion for them. That we have seen the distinction between Maya and Daya. Daya means God is in everybody, so I love everybody. That is how Thakur defines Daya. And Maya means this is mine, so I love him. That is Maya. To such a man, the world appears a strange land. He is not fit to live in the world. A place where he has merely to perform his duties. That is his relation with the world. It is like a man's having his real home in the country, but coming to Calcutta for work, he has to rent a house in Calcutta for the sake of his duties. When one develops love of God, one completely gets rid of one's attachment to the world and worldly wisdom. How to make more money, that is gone. So the God is one example. Though the mind soaked in worldliness is such a damp matchstick. Once Sri Radha said to her friends that she saw Krishna everywhere, both within and without. That is, she has developed the knowledge through love. The friends answered, why we don't see him at all? At all, neither within nor without. Are you delirious? That means, is it distorted brain that you are seeing? Radha said, friends, paint your eyes with the collyrium of divine love and then you will see him. So the whole personality has changed. In another place, Thakur has said, love body, love eyes, and that sees God. So that is the collyrium of love. To Vijay, it is said in a song of your Brahma Samaj. That might have been due to Thakur, but he calls it your, so that Vijay will take it at home. Vijay will appreciate them. O Lord, is it ever possible to know Thee without love? However much one may perform worship and sacrifice. So here, knowledge is not brought about, the two types of bhakti is brought about. If the devotee but once feels this attachment and ecstatic love for God, this mature devotion and longing, then he sees God in both his aspects, with form and without form. So that does not produce any difference. Vijay, how can one see God? Because Thakur has mentioned he can see God. Master, one cannot see God without purity of heart. So through bhakti or knowledge or anything, heart is purified. Through attachment to woman and gold, the mind has become stained, covered with dirt, as it were. A magnet cannot attract a needle if the needle is covered with mud. Wash away the mud and the magnet will draw it. Likewise, the dirt of the mind can be washed away with the tears of our eyes. Tears are the expression of longing for God. This stain is removed if one sheds tears of repentance and says, "Oh God, I shall never again do such a thing." So even those who have done bad things. Thereupon God, who is like the magnet, draws to himself the mind which is like the needle. Then the devotee goes into samadhi and obtains the vision of God. So for vision of God we require samadhi, absolute absorption. You may try thousands of times, but nothing can be achieved without God's grace. Now that element was not told up till now, so finally brings that element. One cannot see God without His grace. Is it an easy thing to receive the grace of God? One must altogether renounce egotism. If I is there, grace will not flow. One cannot see God as long as one feels I am the doer. So that is the lower plane. I did this much japa, I did. So that God cannot be seen. Suppose in a family, a man has taken charge of the storeroom. Then if someone asks the master, "Sir, will you yourself kindly give me something from the storeroom?" The master says to him, "There is already someone in the storeroom. What can I do there?" So master is master, but the storeroom manager is the I. That means God's grace will not come. God doesn't easily appear in the heart of a man who feels himself to be his own master. So will. If he thinks I have the will, then God will not come. But God can be seen the moment his grace descends. Moment, any moment. He is the son of knowledge. So now he brings back knowledge at that point. He is the son of knowledge. One single ray of his has illumined the world. Sun, with the light of knowledge. This is how we are able to see one another and acquire varied knowledge. So, sun's rays illumine everything. We can see each other. We can see all the objects because of sunlight. One can see God only if he turns his light toward his own face. So, in the sun's light, we see each other, we see the world, we do not see God. But if God turns the light to himself, we can see. So here, an example of sergeants appointed by the East India Company when there was neither electricity nor gas, and for night patrolling. The police sergeant goes his rounds in the dark of night with a lantern in his hand. No one sees his face because that side of the lantern is darkened. But with the help of that light, the sergeant sees everybody's face. God sees everybody, huh? And others too can see one another. If you want to see the sergeant, however, you must pray to him, Sir, please turn the light on your own face. That is the spirituality. Turning the light in us, which is a reflection. So turn our face towards God. And this God only can do. In the same way, one must pray to God, O Lord, be gracious and turn the light of knowledge on thyself, that I may see thy face. Now from this, he has come to some traditional function, because that light is consciousness. But in the world, light is nearest to that consciousness. A house without light indicates poverty. So one must light the lamp of knowledge in one's heart. So he's talking about the heart, but house without the light is poverty. So without the light, heart is poor. As it is said in a song, lighting the lamp of knowledge in the chamber of your heart, behold the face of the mother, Brahman's embodiment. So mother means Brahman's Murti. As Vijay had brought medicine with him, the master asked a devotee to give him some water. He was indeed a fountain of infinite compassion. He had arranged for Vijay's boat fare. Since the latter was too poor to pay it, Vijay, Balram, M. and the other devotees left for Calcutta in a country boat. Let me check a little the Bengali. विजय संगे औषध एनी आছেন জল দিয়া ঠাকুর জ্বালায় এনে দিলেন ঠাকুর হয়তো বিজয় গাড়ি ভাড়া নৌকা ভাড়া দিয়ে আসিতে পারেন না something appeared strange to me, so I poor we cannot say, but unable to pay this. So Thakur used to send somebody to him and ask him to come. This time he had sent Balaram. That is how Balaram was there. No, some other friends had come with Vijay. So Balaram will make them reach Bagh Bazar Ghat. Balaram has his own carriage, so he will take them. And Master of a Naukai Utli, no. They will pay the boat hire. Balaram will pay that. So they all went in the same boat. So little more sentences are there in Bengali. Okay. Contribute is there. He had arranged for Vijay's boat fare, since the latter was too poor to pay it. Vijay, Balram, M. and the other devotees left for Calcutta in a country boat. So, we have described the full picture. Now, in English, we had something before this, and we have seen that that was Christmas. So, in the original Bengali, it is after this, and we already read that. So now, here in English, after this will come Monday, January 1st, 1883. So we leave 1882 behind. And in Bengali, you find out hmm, 18th February.
No, there's
Marwadi Bhaktera. Huh?
page 130, page number 130.
English, Hindi में, Bengali में
130.
130. Yes. Yes, a new chapter. दक्षिणेश्वर मंदिर है श्रीयुत राकाल पुराण कृष्ण केदार प्रति भक्त संघ. So a few pages were about that previous.
In English, it is before.
English, it is in the same chapter after this description, which you have read now. So we take it up. Bengali is after that. Oh, Bengali was wrong, huh? No. Yes. Bengali, 14 December was after.
No, in Bengali, 14 December is before Christmas, Borodin.
You see properly what we have read now. Huh?
We read 14 December now.
We have come to within that chapter, Ashtam Pariched.
That is Christmas.
Yeah? This is only December.
But in the bracket, it is written.
No, what happened, I will tell you. Only December. Yeah?
It is in
Baburam Ramdayala Master, Aaj Ratire Thaki Ben. We have already read this.
But next line says it is holidays of Christmas. Christmas holidays. In the next line, it is written.
This is the Christmas.
So Christmas holiday will be after 14 December.
Here no date is mentioned, December 1882.
After that?
After that,
No, in the same line.
These are a few pages. Then Marwadi Gupta. Marwadi I read.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, so in Bengali, we ended with Saptam Pariched. Then there is Ashtam Pariched. And in English, we had already read that. So, in Bengali, after that, Ashtam Pariched and Navam Pariched, we come to new chapter, page 130. Okay? And in English, immediately after this, which we have finished today, we come to January 1st. We take it up. Monday, January 1st, 1883. At 8 o'clock in the morning, Sri Ramakrishna was seated on a mat spread on the floor of his room at Dakshineshwar. So it is not necessary that he always sit on the bedstead. And Master described everything so that you can visualize that. That becomes an object of meditation for us. Since it was a cold day, January 1st, he had wrapped his body in his moleskin shawl. special type of wood, moleskin. Ramakrishna and M were seated in front of him. Ramakrishna will be described later on here. And M were seated in front of him. Rakhal too was in the room. Ramakrishna was a high government official and lived in Calcutta. Since he had had no offspring by his first wife, with her permission he had married a second time. By the second wife he had a son. Because he was rather stout, the master addressed him now and then as the fat Brahmin. He had great respect for Sri Ramakrishna. Though a householder, Ramakrishna studied the Vedanta and had been heard to say, Brahman alone is real and the world illusory. I am he. That is Vedantic. The master used to say to him, in the Kali Yuga, the life of a man depends on food. The path of devotion prescribed by Narada is best for this age. Okay? So we'll take it up next time now. We entered it. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadatam Vivrananti Ye Bhurida Jana. Harihi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.